Hello, friends and family. It's day 81, cycle 4, day 17. If you're new, I'm Jen. If you've been before, thank you so much for coming back. Welcome to my quest to crush aggressive diffuse large B-cell lymphoma, DLBCL, stage 4. And we're using the Immunotherapy chemotherapy cocktail R-EPOCH to crush non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Let's get into it. I want to start with a quote today, and then we'll expound upon it. So here's the quote. It's a funny thing about life. Once you begin to take note of the things you are grateful for, you begin to lose sight of the things that you lack. Germany, Kent. I kind of wanted to talk about gratitude and being grateful. You guys hear me a lot say I'm grateful for different things. Grateful I have more good days than bad, or more good hours than bad hours, etc. And I am grateful. At this point in my life, I don't have a regular gratitude practice, and I was wondering, do you have a regular gratitude practice? You want to share it below in the comments? I was looking at studies about, is there a benefit to gratitude? Is it good for you? Have they done any studies to prove that, etc.? And what I found was yes, not too surprisingly, there have been studies. I saw one at UC Berkeley, one at University of Miami, I think, and also at University of, was it Pennsylvania? Might have been UPenn. I can't recall. Sorry. Should have taken notes on that. And they all seem pretty conclusive in yes, there's benefits to gratitude. Beyond focusing, the one of them was interesting. They split up a group into 3 groups. One, they gave the directive to come up with 10 things a day that they were grateful for. The other group, another group had to come up with 10 things a day that irritated them. And the last group was told to come up with 10 items that impacted them. They didn't tell them positive or negative, just impact. And what they found was the group that wrote down the 10 things that they were grateful for, surprisingly, exercised more, went to the doctor less, were generally happier, reported themselves to be happier than the other 2 groups. And as a matter of fact, the group that looked for the 10 things to be upset about, that they were aggravated with in a day, they actually had more doctor's visits and more issues. So it was a very interesting study. I was like, So generally people report that if you have a gratitude practice, that if you're grateful, that that you are happier, however you quantify happiness. And beyond that, there was a couple of exceptions. And one of the exceptions were children and adolescents that were first forced to write thank you notes for things they were grateful for. You know, when grandma gives you a gift or whatever and you have to write a thank you note. They didn't show, they despite the fact that the recipient of their thank you note was grateful and happy, the child in this case, that wrote the thank you note didn't report any greater happiness because they wrote that thank you note. So clearly there has to be a certain level of emotional maturity for gratitude to have some benefit. So I did today go down a Reddit rabbit hole on the lymphoma group I'm in, and what I've learned was that many lymphoma if Reddit's to be believed, which is just, I don't disbelieve them, and I don't know how many, I don't know that I had a good sampling, I'll say that, but there were many lymphoma patients in the Reddit lymphoma group, or thread, that their treatment was failing. It either was not killing the cancer, or they had a bad reaction to the chemicals, or whatever the case was, and they were unable to continue. So they had to change treatments. Now, I think I mentioned early on that when the doctor presented my cancer to me, he explained that there were really 2 treatment paths, at least traditionally. One called R-CHOP and one called R-EPOCH. And the R-EPOCH was much more aggressive. But when you look at the details of them too, they're really very much the same treatment, but distributed in a different way. So R-CHOP, you go into the center and they do it in one day. It's like they just push the chemicals at you in one day. Kind of more like I had the last time I had chemo, although mine was distributed over the course of a week. And maybe the R-CHOP was over 2 or 3 days. Maybe I'm remembering it wrong. Whereas the R-EPOCH, but days in the center. So it wasn't like a continuous infusion. Where the R-EPOCH, you get the 4 days continuous plus the other medications. The R in both cases is the same. It's Rituxan, and that's actually immunotherapy. But if you think about it, CHOP and EPOCH have similar letters. There's only one extra. the topamycin, I think is the E. And so they really are quite similar as far as their medication. So that got me to thinking, if you are not able to take one treatment, then that may rule out multiple treatments because of the chemicals that are being used. In any case, I digress way down the rabbit hole there, but only to say how grateful I am, despite the fact that I do not enjoy being poisoned at all, that the poisoning is working based on that PET scan. Oh, here's the PET scan results. If you haven't seen them yet, I'll share them up here, and they're down below in the description. So despite the fact that I am a cancer patient, that I have cancer for the third time for reasons unknown, and that I am being poisoned currently, I'm grateful in general for most days, right? I woke up today, I'm breathing. I felt good overall. I felt strong. I felt powerful. I felt grateful. And I don't have a daily great gratitude practice at this time in my life. But at one time, a year or two ago, I did. Every day I would write down, I kind of had this regular practice. I would wake up and I would pick 3 things I was grateful for from the previous day. And then I had some affirmations, things I wanted to happen. I would write those down, and every day I would write them down, and then the next day would come. Now, one thing that came out of that gratitude practice, which I don't know that you think about it, but just like that study I talked about earlier, because I knew that tomorrow morning I was going to write down 3 things I was grateful for. So all day today I'm looking for, what are my 3 things going to be? Right? So all day long you're thinking about, what can I be grateful for? Right? And it didn't have to be anything. It could be the sun was shining and I felt the warmth on my face. It could be, I'm grateful the grass was green. I'm grateful the temperature was over 50 today. It could also be, I'm grateful Bill had a good day. I'm grateful the boys did well in school. Like, there was all kinds of things to be grateful for, but when you're looking for them, your focus is on the good and not the bad, right? And I guess when I look back at this quote here, you begin to lose sight of the things you don't have. I don't know that that's necessarily true, but I think when you focus on things to be grateful for, that there's less space in your noodle, and just in your being to focus on not only the things you don't have, but the things that are not so good. So maybe that's part of my secret to positivity. I don't know. I never really gave it much thought. Maybe I should think on that some more. But I do tend to focus on the things to be grateful for in general, because I think it goes back to, if I focus on the negative, what's to be gained from that? But when I focus on the positive, I feel better. And why not? I might as well feel better, right? So if you don't have a gratitude practice, I would encourage you, and you're not feeling great, I guess I should articulate that. Why don't you start? Come up with one thing a day to be grateful for and write it down tomorrow or at bedtime. That would be a nice way to go to sleep at night, right? Thinking about the things you're grateful for. So come up with one thing a day that you're grateful for. And it could be that I woke up this morning, right? That could be the thing you're grateful for. Or that I have a job when so many don't. Or that my refrigerator's full, Or I exercise, so, I found the time to do my exercise. Or whatever your thing is. It could be whatever you want. It doesn't have to be profound. Just need to be grateful. So find a thing to be grateful for, and maybe you'll feel better. I hope so. All right, let's keep going. How am I? Today, I think I already tipped you off. I feel strong. Most of my symptoms are not at all bothering me. So, of course, the hair doesn't come back or any of those things, but all the other uncomfortable feelings are doing pretty well. I feel pretty powerful and grateful. Those were my feelings today. To my knowledge, we didn't get any angel deliveries, but I'm not sure the last time somebody went to the mailbox, so I'll be sending somebody out later today. Let's see, as far as my PICC line and my flushes and draws, I had no problem last night and no problem this morning, so we might have turned a corner, or I pushed that fibrin out, I don't know, or maybe my platelets are very low. We'll see when we get the blood work at the end of the week. So just wanted to give you a quick plan for the week, doctor's plan. Tuesday, I suspect that Nurse Lana will come to change my dressing, which is good because it's itching like crazy. Here, I'll just flop it up on the screen. You can see it here. I did take a Benadryl last night because it's itching like crazy. I pulled down I took a picture. I don't know if you can see. Maybe I'll try and circle it for you, or maybe it'll be evident in the picture. But there's this whole section of raised, bumpy, and it's itchy like crazy. And maybe I'll put some cortisone cream on it tonight, and that'll help. So I think she's coming to change the dressing on Tuesday. Wednesday I have a telehealth with my doctor. Don't know that we have much to talk about, but maybe I'll ask him some of the questions I had left over from the PET scan. I'll go look those up. And then Friday, unfortunately for me, starts cycle 5, and the poisoning starts on Friday morning. Sad, sad face. I expect that starting Friday I'll have a rough week to 2 weeks based on my cycle 4 experience, but hopefully I'm wrong. Don't borrow trouble. So that's what's going on. So let me get into my ta-da list for today. I think that's all the news there. Yeah. Ta-da! I ordered my new phone case. Now I must tell you that I had some analysis paralysis. I was looking, I had wish listed a few, I had looked at videos and reviews and decided and back and forth, and I finally I couldn't take it anymore. I was like, that's it, pick it and be done. You spent too much time on this, which I did. I did sleep in. The Benadryl, I'm sure, helped. I cleaned my living room. I'd say it's about 2/3, and probably living room is not a good term. It's more of a family room or a great room. It's a massive room. So I'd say it's about 2/3 cleaned. Straightened. I wouldn't call it clean, but like both couches were just covered. One was kind of my fault because that's where I sit to crochet and everything. So I organized all the yarns and crochet stuff in the one corner. And then the other one was the boys, when they study, they have textbooks and all the foodstuffs, and it was miserable. So I cleared them out, threw stuff in the garbage, cleared the floors, vacuumed the carpets, vacuumed the floors, vacuumed as far as I could under the couches. So I made some progress there. I sent my sister-in-law a picture, and she said thumbs up. The one area I still want to work on, there's still some work to be done, but I ran out of steam there. And there was only so much I could do, but I feel pretty accomplished there. All right, what else? I did have an unexpected robotics call. That was a quick one. I did some of the medicine distribution. I did mine for like half of a week to a week, but I ran out of some of my meds, so I have to go online and see if they'll refill them or talk to my doc on Wednesday and see if he'll do it. It's for my normal blood pressure meds, so I don't know if he's going to want me to go to my GP or if he'll do it. And then what else? I did not come up with an exercise plan, but I did work exercise into my day. So as I was moving around, I would do some squats or some high knee elbow twists, all that kind of exercise while I was working today on cleaning. Anything else? Oh, and I also did charity miles. Thumbs up. While I was cleaning, I had my charity miles on and my phone in my pocket while I listened to a couple podcasts. Collectively, we have a team of 16 now. Thank you for joining. And I can see all 16, so thumbs up. And collectively, we've walked 375 miles. Miraculous. Good job, everyone. All right, so on to the to-do list. Tomorrow I have work. I'm going to try to continue cleaning either in the living room or family room or the kitchen. We'll see where that goes. I have to complete the medicine distribution for Bill. Hopefully tonight at least I'll go through and see if there are any meds that need refills and order them from CVS. I would still like to paint my nails, and I have to reorder the meds for me. I already mentioned that. So that's on my must-do list. And reorder for Bill if there's any meds he needs. And then on my would love to do list, I have order my logo, which I still haven't done. That fell off the list today. Reset my office also fell off the list. I'm not sure, that might wait until next weekend. I might be sick. So let me think about how high of a priority that is. So maybe I'll spend a little time every day on that. And then crochet and record that crocheting. I really want to paint my nails first because if I'm going to crochet a video, I'd like my nails to look pretty. Oh, isn't that horrible of me? What's the word? Vain. Isn't that vain of me? But if you're just going to be looking at my hands, I feel like they should look at least a little nice, especially since my nails are not doing well with the chemo. All right, so that is it for my to-do list and my to-do list. Let's move on. Oh, so that's the end of story time. So if you're just here for story time, thank you so much for joining me today. We'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Let's get into the daily symptoms. Nausea, no. Mouth pain, no. Teeth pain, no. Throat pain, no. Weight, I think I came down about ½ kilo. I was thinking about the weight, if it would be more valuable if I just put it on a scale and just said +1, +2, etc. when it comes down, or just have the number. So I won't, if it's 70 or 80 kilos, instead of saying that, I'll just say 1 kilo, 2 kilo, 3 kilos, and you can kind of gauge from there. So I might do something like that. Okay. What else do I have for you? So the weights came down a little bit. It's still inside the range, but it's towards the top. Not happy. Maybe the exercise will help. All right. My fluid in was 88 ounces, which is 2.6 liters. My fluid out was 2.55 liters. A little problematic because I thought I was going to have a higher out than I did. I had a lot of out during the day, higher than I typically do, but my out overnight wasn't very high, and so that kept me at that level. So it's not clear to me what I'm doing different. I mean, my fluids seem okay. Not sure. Maybe I'll talk to the doctor about that. I'm not sure. He tends to be in the camp of don't overanalyze, which is probably problematic for me. All right, sleep was 7 hours and 43 minutes with the help of some Benadryl and the fact that I didn't have to get up today. My movement was 7,300 steps plus my restorative poses. My vitals were fine. Neuropathy, status quo. Hair loss, status quo. Skin, status quo. Nose clots, I think they're easing up. Night sweats, no. Headache, no. Fatigue, no. Red skin, no. Chemo brain, no. And that's all I have for you today. So let me know if you have any questions or anything you'd like to know from me, and I'm happy to answer. Oh, I did get a private question about how am I measuring the outs. I think I mentioned in another video, but I'll mention that I have a, I think it's 3 or 4 liter jug. I could probably snap a picture and show it to you, but I'm not sure that anybody cares. The kind that, if you ever had to do a 24-hour urine test, like at the lab, it's one of those. So it has like little line measures of how much you're putting in there. And I basically dump it a couple times a day and take a note of what it was, clean it out, and use it again. We have a couple because Bill had to do it as part of his dialysis testing quarterly, but he hasn't been using them of late for obvious reasons. So I've been using the bucket. And that's that. So thank you so much for joining me today and every day. And please find something to be grateful for. Make a note of it. Even if you don't write it down, make a note in your brain. Maybe that's a new nighttime thing before you fall asleep at night in bed, looking at the ceiling. What am I grateful for today? See where it takes you. And if you can do one, maybe add a second one. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I love you. Remember, every day is a gift. Live it. If you want to follow our story, my story, you could subscribe. And if you're interested in how we got to today, 80 other days are up here in this playlist. You can see the other days. Thanks so much for joining me. We'll see you tomorrow.